Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast with your host, Imperial Dane, the one and only master propaganda heroes like defender of the fatherland.
Pioneers are reporting for duty.
With my co-host, Basil the Kitty Cat. Already my left hand is feeling threatened. But we're off here to a 1v1 in the south. It is Treadz fighting here for the German army, Deutschland. Here with the 44th Reichsgrenadierdivision Hoch- und Deutschmeister. In the north is Mule, fighting for freedom, democracy, and liberty. Here with the 3rd Armoured Division and Straight Armoured Battle Group, whereas Treadz has yet to reveal his hand, keeping them close to himself. So we've got a Jeep Scout start here of Mule, though not immediate veterans who won there, though of course that can quickly happen. And Treadz with a dull Pioneer Grenadier, of course. On a map like this, theoretically you can get more with the cannon crap, but again, Jeeps being so common, yeah, no, you're probably not going to feel too great with that cannon crap for long, but you could go for it. And there, go Veterans 1, so that Jeep can start capturing points, basically turning into an armed Kettenkrat that can also self-repair. Sorry about the cat. But as always, big hearty thanks to my patron supporters for continued generous and wonderful support of the Propagandacast, and a big thanks to those who keep commenting and liking on my videos, helps out immensely with the YouTube algorithm, and big thanks to Basil for being the lovable kitty he is. When he's quiet. Ralph Scott's on the Mule, we got more grenadiers here for Treadz, fairly stamped and whoops, Basil just tumbled over himself there. Sideways. Did a roll, if you will, a barrel roll. Barrel kitty roll. So moving forward here, quickly moving on to the center course, fairly common here, I find, for Semois. It's one of my favorite maps. Of course, the tricky thing I like to do is actually, I go for a slightly unusual capping order here. I go actually up here this way, and then I try and get behind on this building here. Since people typically tend not to expect it, also gives you a bit better coverage there. Whereas here, like, you know, it tends to get down to the church. Like whoever rushes the church, so I try to get around that by going around this way, and similarly up north here I might try and, you know, take a different way, so again, I don't become too reliant on getting into the church first. But enough about that. We got more American forces here, arriving into the town of Semois. German forces there, the vanguard there, of course. Getting into the thick of it. Treadz, though, continues not to reveal his hand battle group wise. Could be breakthrough, could be mechanized, could be Luftwaffe with the cheap reinforcements, and of course, not on the actual Luftwaffe troops, because despite being elite, they don't feel elite in Coh3. Pioneers there pushing back the scouts. More riflemen there for Mule. Basil seems to have, briefly vanished, and then he's back. Sides are not seeing too much action. Ow! Yeah. Ow, 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 ow! Oh, this hurts. Tried to pick him up. Bad idea. Ow, ow. Oh, God, sorry about that, dear viewers. This hurts so much. Oh, God. Basil is definitely not in a friendly mood. Oh god, that hurt. Anyways, Rock Squad moving in here, Panzer Company for Treadz, so we get sort of the mixed tier 1 opening. They were mixed, but lighter tier 1 opening there, just 3 units alongside 2 Pioneers, and then fast taken to the Panzer Grenadiers Company. Lightly looking at transfer them out. There for Treadz. That's definitely one of the more, I think, fairly solid strategy can perform against the Wehrmacht, because just getting up Panzer Grenadiers fast can sort of flip the table than the Americans strengthen the early riflemen, because if we get out the Panzer Grenadiers fast enough, it undercuts them. We do see actually cancel it first to get out healing there. I think that's actually a mistake there by Treadz, because, of course, you could then just transfer out the Panzer Grenadiers for Grenadiers for Panzer Grenadiers, and thus not needed the healing as fast. So maybe it's not intending to transfer out, but that's certainly what I've done myself. Up north, Pioneers hunting down the GP. Southeast, bit of skirmishing. Basil seems mollified for now. Okay, he's calmer now. I hope. Yeah, he can be very aggressive and playful. Anyways, up north here, Pioneers can hunt down the Jeep, doing a fair bit of damage there. Officers' quarters plus medics on the way there for Mule. And there we go, we do get the Panzer Grenadiers, not transfer out, just training them. And again, that's also perfectly fine, though again, personally, I would suggest just transfer them out, unless again you say, going for breakthrough and got some MP40 Grenadiers, in which case I can see keeping them around, but if not, I would just recommend keeping 1, maybe 2 Grenadier squads out, or at least transferring out 1 Grenadier squad. So, but enough about what I do here. This is obviously Treadz fight and not mine, just, you know, providing my perspective. Heavy fighting here, the Grenadiers being on with the Riflemen, M1 Garands with the K9TKs, and use the Flamethrowers, and we got the Panzer Grenadiers with the Sturmgewehr 44, also known as the MP44. Before it got the official designation. And he does transfer some out after all. So again, could have done that sooner. BAR's there for Mule. Obviously going to be helpful as the Pentagonist. And we do end up getting the Luftwaffe build here for Treadz. Again, not too uncommon with this getup. Again, it means you got the LD-40s to provide you anti-tank assets, so you can provide more manpower for the Panzer Grenadiers. It's very much just a strategy in a sense about just providing the most efficient way of beating the American Riflemen. And it typically tends to beat Panzer Grenadiers with cheaper reinforcements a good deal of the time. I mean, you can of course still do it without it, but, you know, it means you can do it even more efficiently. So back here though, Mule of course, 3 Rival Squads got the captain out, we got fast deploy. Will he go for motor pool? Will he go for the weapon support center again? There's definitely been just that increase in American build orders, with again the weapon supports being sort of more the actual thing. Also good move here by Mule. Mining, of course, the town while he's holding it. Also crucially, he rather mines a really good spot because there's like a lot of ways the unit can like hit that mine, and it's very difficult to avoid it because again of the particular space of it. So thumbs up there. That's the key point. You know, you want to like, you know, guarantee the opponent has a chance of hitting the mine. So you want to like, you know, make sure it's like, you know, somewhere there's like, you know, in a sense a bit, you know, bottlenecked, or at least likely to tread on here, and this kind of has a lot of it. Got the Jeep there. That's a definite win here for Treadz. Advancing the Panzer out in the middle of road here. There's the Rifleman. Not too great there. One grenade on the captain. Did a good bit of damage, but somehow the captain and his men somehow survived the encounter, though I'm sure they are brutally traumatized from the encounter. And there you go. Mine goes off. Beautiful there for Mule. We got more Riflemen. Also fairly standard here. Officers' quarters for Treadz. For the Panzer Grenadier Company. Very much expected as well. We got the LD-40 here blasting away. Obviously, the veterans one it can switch your high explosive shells, which do have some handiness versus infantry in particular spots. Now we'll have to see what happens here. Troops are reinforcing. I would prioritize here the Grenadiers over the Panzer Grenadiers and then just merge the Grenadiers with the Panzer Grenadiers. That would definitely make things a bit cheaper here for Treadz to reinforce with. And of course, also some of the guys perhaps a bit faster. Trying to block off the path here. Cheeky Mule, of course, applying heavy pressure there on Treadz on every point as hard as possible. Again, he probably slightly avoided this. Again, just, you know, just kept building this and then just transfer out some of those early Grenadiers for Panzer Grenadiers. Just get that Panzer Grenadier ball rolling. So, meanwhile, gobbling up a bunch of cannon of the map, and we do get the M8A1 Scott out here for Mule. Also very much part and parcel of this particular strategy. Again, go hard on the rifle and the bars, get out the Scott, and then, you know, take it from there. Got X high explosives there loaded up for the LD-40. Charging forwards with the Grenadiers and the Panzer Grenadier. Another mine there again. Also good spot. In particular, the way you position it, like, you can also see how like, somehow it can actually appear a bit blocked by the building. So it actually creates a bit of a blind spot in the typical players, you know, Jose head. Of course, some might play, you know, with slightly tilted angles to fit, you know, their positioning on the map, but again, like some getting hit by there can be a surprisingly effective tool.
The enemy have taken our territory.
So, Scott falling back here. And the South here, Rifleman also pushing forward. Got some pioneers, though, delving around there. Scott has reached Veterans E1. But of course, I have to see what Treadz does next. I mean, he's going to need something that can, like, you know, rather aggressively hunt down the Scott here. At least keep it in check. LD-40s are a bit tricky because they definitely lack the gun shields. It becomes even easier for the Scott to counter them than, say, a Pack 40. Almost at the scout team here, and we got the demolitions package, also meaning anti-tank mines here for Mule. Very potent upgrade, and again, he's already had good success with mines, so anti-tank mines certainly don't hurt either. Of course, we got the Scott here, so Treadz really needs like something to do with it. I mean, could try with Stukes, you could side tick for Luftwaffe and Armoured, so we can try and hold out for the Panzer Company to get out of Panther 4, but the faster that Treadz can put that Scott out of commission, the better for him. And of course, the longer that Mule can keep it alive, so much better. We got grenades now as well there. Really looking to leverage his infantry side, and we got the second LG-40. Likely just betting on, you know, the good old just A-move anti-tank guns, try and melt enemy light vehicle strat.
The enemy
Any vehicles, really.
We have territory out of supply.
So,
More replacements.
yeah, at this point, people use LG-40s more than actually use any of the, you know, elite infantry that is part of the battle group, because these, you know, much more manpower efficient, and, you know, they do provide some more utility. But again, good push here. Treadz forces up north scattered, and we can see there how Mule descends upon them aggressively wherever he can. Though we can see that here Treadz is also really close there to his opponent's base, hitting the fuel point there. And comparatively not seeing Mule do the same thing. And now Basil is, of course, acting all innocent, having just some really nasty scratches there on my right hand wrist. Definitely smarts. And far south, the Panzer catching Ralph squad here could pop automatic fire, but then neither player's paying attention to what's going on here. That is, of course, is always a bit amusing when it happens. Double high explosive shells here, wrecking a post there. North here, Scott sitting for the Graves, but he still managed to hit his opponent's fuel point. Of course, now Mule is doing the same here to Treadz, and Treadz apparently is not catching on to those. Obviously, could send the Panzers to try and contest that. So map control is really messy. The grenades about to get wiped out. I think Treadz here forgot about them. Mule, of course, will not. Yep, they got wiped. Painful blow there. LD-40 engaging the Scott. Almost had it here. Close call there, though, but the LG-40s do less damage than regular anti-tank guns. Fuel pump runner neutral. He is moving back there. I'm surprised he, you know, just waited for that point to create a neutral. But Panzer Company there for Treadz, and we got Mule here with a weapon support and some bazookas, half-tracks, and a pinch here. We also get advanced logistics to make his troops cheaper to reinforce, and Treadz, of course, is not too far from the serviceability that makes his troops cheaper to reinforce. Sending some heavier blows here to Treadz. Map control is definitely also struggling here for him. And there you go, right and pushed back by the Panzer Grenadier.
Grenadiers ready and mostly able.
You have orders?
Engage anything you see.
Panzer Company almost done. Briefly considered Pack 40, that would seem a bit odd with the LG-40 as well, but I mean, he could go for it. It would make more sense, I think, just go for some Starstorm and add in something a bit more elite with a bit more reach here. Against Treadz, got elite production there for Mule. And we got the M31. So obviously next going to be War Machine. Got bazookas on the way there. Will Treadz go for the Starstorm? Not. But he can now go for cheaper reinforcements.
The enemy holds all victory points.
There you go, triple cap here from Mule as well there. Really strong map control. Treadz has definitely been struggling a bit here. Again, the whole Panzer Grenadier rush strategy kind of got side-railed. And again, I do think if you just committed hard to the Panzer Grenadiers instead of just 2 squads. Like, if you're going to go for them, like, go for 3, I would say. But you need a certain amount of critical mass to, like, you know, really push back against, you know, barred up riflemen, unless you don't really get that far ahead. Catching me here, though, again, not quite paying attention. There you go, automatic fire popped here. Could also try with a bung grenade, but we've got a frag grenade on them. And there you go, wipe. Treadz suffering a massive loss. No Starstorm either. Got this LG-40 hunt down the Scott. Treadz is so extended right now that, you know, Mule basically ends up getting a lot of, you know, free hits here in a sense. Free wipes. Really tough stuff here. Really needs, you know, again, either more Panzer Grenadiers, he needs some Starstorm out. There we go. More Panzer Grenadiers. Just something that is, you know, on a bit high up the food chain than the regular Grenadiers here to match the barred up rifle. Again, a part of me likes to see the Star Sword, but the Panzergunners are cheap, and of course they are a 5-man squad, so obviously they do have a bit there to, you know, work with. It's a really tough spot here for Treadz. And with the way resources are currently flowing, he's also going to be some time away from any Panzer force. Of course, it's great for the Americans. Fresh Panzergunner squad out, the LD-40 turning about here. There you go, good shot there. Another bazooka team for Mule. More Panzer Grenadiers for Treadz. So now we are definitely like pushing into like 3 squads there, and we even get an MD-42 now for Treadz. Again, to try and help deal with infantry. Not a bad idea, but obviously the Scot at the same time can make using the MD-42 a bit tougher, since the white phosphorus in particular can be quite effective at shutting it down. And there you go, upgraded bazooka rockets as well there for Mule.
Enemy forces have claimed our territory.
Grenades, need to cover those Panzer Grenadiers. Low on health already. Losing another Panzer squad this fast, but also I think they are rather crippling hit here to Treadz. He cannot afford. So now with Mule again just exercising map control so aggressively. Got the MD-42 teaming up, but again the Scot is going to be a bit of a headache and a half here for Treadz machine and give that crew. Honestly, it might have made, in some respect, actually more sense just go for the mortar. And there you go, we got the white phosphorus against the machine gun, also catching the troops here. Really powerful AoE denial tool there, again, immensely powerful ability. Still not entirely sure why they thought it needed that, honestly. Seems rather excessive, but that's just me. And now again, we can see just the white phosphorus just completely ruined here Treadz attack. Really ruin it directly, but certainly didn't help it. Treadz does close again on that Panzer IV here. Wait, did he cancel the Panzer? No, he did. It's got 3 squads though. And Scott here made great use of the train to hide from the LD-40s. Really making things complicated here for Treadz and the German army. And we do get some troops sneaking up here. I mean, he's definitely good at that sense, but the problem right now for Treadz is being sneaky right now isn't really getting him the help he needs, like getting map control here. Almost had the Scot again. Scot blasting away with the 75mm cannon. Panzergunner is falling in there.
Commandant, you have command point.
It seems like you've got, or you misclicked here. And we got Mule now with the 30 cals here. Bring in some anti-infantry firepower. They're going to have to keep them in check. Treadz very close to Panzer IV here. Should definitely go for it as soon as possible. Zoom team close with grenades are being chucked here. Almost got it here with the high explosives on the LD-40s. Such a close call there. Far up north, the Grenadiers grabbing that fuel point here. Mule has yet to build up the tank depot, so Treadz is at least not under immediate threat of Brad Pitt anytime soon. But that, of course, can quickly change. Another wave of American troops there. American troops out near us, the LD-40s. Could help if the LD-40s could actually hit them. They do have a bit of a bad habit of getting the shot snagged up on everything. After he's in geballte Ladungen up north of Grenadiers being attacked, need to get them out of there. But again, he does manage to hit Mule's fuel economy, which does buy him a bit of time here versus Mule and the US war machine. Further south here, Panzer's machine gun heading in there, trying to at least open up parts of the front line there. Can go for the Panzer IV now. I mean, he could also go for the Sturmpanzer, but the Panzer IV is a bit more mobile and more crucially could actually try and end the Scots. In fact, we got a second Scot out for Mule, and the Sturmpanzer is going to really struggle to counter them because it's not exactly fast.
We have lost control of
He does go for the Sturmpanzer again. It will help us the infantry and the other stuff, and certainly is more impervious to bazookas, but it's not really going to help much against the Scots unless Mule suddenly suffers, you know, from a really bad case of narcolepsy.
They are securing our capture point.
Mines there, though. Good spot. 432 versus 205.
Victory point lost.
Sturmpanzer 4 down the way for Treadz.
We are down to sectors are
Less than 200 points left for Treadz and the 44th Reichsgrenadier Division.
Victory points are under enemy control.
Sturmpanzer is almost done. Making progress on the east side as well there.
Heavy assault gun is standing
But still,
by.
Mule has got that trouble cap there on him, and he's absolutely just squeezing here Treadz for what he can. And there goes Sturmpanzer rolling forwards. The Sturmpanzer Kampfwagenfear based off the Panther chassis. It was very much a sort of further development of initial concept developed during Stalingrad to help with the urban fighting there.
The enemy has claimed our territory for their own.
Just based off the Panther 3. Fun fact. Used largely the same type of gun there, but looked a lot more squarish. The south side here, mines going off, American forces pulling in here. Sturmpanzer being somewhat kept in check for now. We can see there, Treadz clearly not too keen on just rushing in blind and getting knocked out, which is, I think, a very healthy approach. With all the bazooka teams, and of course, they do have the upgrades, so they can really do a lot of damage to the Sturmpanzer fast here if Treadz isn't careful. In the east, Scots, they're striking the isolated German units here, completely unraveling that. Damage there. Sturmpanzer's not shooting back, though, interestingly enough. What's going on there? Is he like ordered not to fire? Or am I missing something? He just ends up taking so much damage and doing nothing in return there. Not entirely sure what's going on there. Pioneer's about to get wiped. Yeah. And far up north, the German troops looking perhaps to flank around here. Catch Mule's forces there in a bit of a pincer. Sturmpanzer needs to be put back for repairs. And now we do get Treadz for the mortar here. Again, I feel like might have worked a bit better than the MD42 because it can stay at a safer distance away from the Scot and provide more continuous firepower as the infantry. There you go. Anti-tank mines here down from Mule. Thumbs up. Which is courtesy of demolition package, which allows riflemen, engineers, and anti-tank teams of the bazooka team to lay down anti-tank mines. Half check for Mule there, and we got some auto training. Well, I'm guessing it could actually be an M16 then, like, if he's anticipating that, I mean, he knows Treadz is going for Luftwaffe. Oh, he actually goes for the anti-tank version. Oh. But he could go for the anti-aircraft version just in case, but no, he does go for the anti-aircraft version there. Very bold.
Enemy forces have captured a victory point.
Quick push here. Sturmpanzer remains in need of repairs up north. Panzer trouble with the Scots. He almost had the engineer squad. Slip right here through Tread's fingers. Oh, mine spotted just in time, except they put away the minesweepers. Okay, remember, he just noticed it, I think. Very good. Machine gun cleared out. That's a definite win for Germany, and also kind of what the Sturmpanzer intend to do, just blast out buildings and other fortified positions, of which units are hiding in. That was kind of thing they realized they needed in Stalingrad was in fact such a vehicle. Grenades, high explosives there. American forces in the midst of the battle streets for Semois. They're getting ripped apart here. Anti-tank half-track rolling forwards, looking to hunt down the Germans.
Security around the HQ. We are down to 100 points.
100 points left here for Treadz. Captain almost taken out, but Treadz really needs something here soon. Needs to get his hands on those victory points. He also needs to just control them better. And we got the recovery vehicle that's for Mule.
Command points must be assigned.
Yeah, Treadz really should have gone for the Panther 4 because I think that helped a lot more versus those Scots. And again, the Scots, I think, are by far the biggest headache right now for Treadz.
75 points remaining for our forces.
And the Sturmpanzer is, quite frankly, just not going to cut it. Anti-tank optic charging in there. Very bold play here by him, but he's clearly sensed an opportunity to hit a weak spot here in Tread's lines, and it's working out, it seems. But the assault rifle panzer is doing some damage there to it. And the Sturmpanzer goes down. And the anti-tank half-track doesn't get away, but still, anti-tank half-track for Sturmpanzer 4 is a really good trade-off there for Mule by any measure. Treadz definitely fraying a bit here under the constant and ceaseless pressure here of Mule and the double Scots. And we even get a Pack 40 out now. It's just Treadz gets more anti-tank assets out there. Almost had the Scot, the bigger grenades and the engineers. narrowly get out of there in time. Finally got one of the Scots. Definitely a blow there to Mule, considering how much damage there he got out of them. It's
50 points remain for us.
might have come a bit too late here for Treadz. And more crucially, he actually needs to destroy the wreck, or if, you know, Mule sees the town again, he can just recover it. And there you go, white phosphorus. Further just making it difficult here for Treadz to maintain a defense of the center of the town. Panzer push back on enemy footprint, some covering fire. Pack 40 in the move there, the Panzer up at Kanonen 40. Push, Ludwig, push! Couldn't you, like, push it elsewhere? We don't want to be caught up in, like, you know, the American artillery fire. Yeah, it's just regular smoke, but that's also a clever way of doing it. We got, yeah, this one charging in there. Pack just attack rounding there. Could go for the Panzer IV soon, but again, will he though? That's the big question. Almost got the second Scot here. Could Mule have underestimated him? He did! He lost the second Scot, but he does wipe the Pack 40 though. That doesn't matter too much, I think. M31 being pushed out as well here. Could he take out that one as well? That'd be big. Really big hit for Treadz. LD40 there. Fang Huxlers around there. Ace level into the rifleman there. Nice shooting there. Treadz seems to be maybe staging a comeback. He's finally stopped the American onslaught here. But at a massive cost. Who can actually recover this one? Needs to get an tank weapons up to deal with that. And we got another Scot in there for Mule. And that's going to be back into two Scots once again. No, he got halted. He got skittish. White phosphorus on the first LU-40 there. Treadz can go for that Panzer now, but he could also, of course, decide he wants to go for that Sturmpanzer again, though I honestly would not advise in the current circumstances. Scott swinging in there for freedom, democracy. Got the one here recovered. Good work there by Mule. And there you go, dashing in with the Scott here, though gets caught up by most of the German guns here, but gets away. Close call though. And Treadz does commit to second Sturmpanzer fear. Again, I kind of get the logic, but I really think he'd benefit a lot more from something that might just had a better chance hunting down those Sturmpanzers and Scots and just, you know, removing them. Because they're just doing so much damage right now to Treadz. It does seem to be helped here. They just, you know, way Mule's kind of playing them out is a bit recklessly. And there you go. Pack's about to go up. LD4's about to go down as well here. Highlighting certainly the weakness, of course, also relying on them because they get bypassed. The Scots, you can see they can make very short work of his anti-tank weapons. There you go. Treadz finally smells the burning motor oil here and commits the Panther 4.
Command points available.
And there you go. For once, it's Treadz who has the triple cap here on Mule in the US 3rd Armored Division. Bring the LD-40s there, the likes of Koschutz and the Pack 40 here. Could he have a chance of taking up one of Mule's Scots again? Needs the Panzers with the riflemen. Two squads, they need to retreat there. Panther 4's right around the corner and Covey tank there getting slammed as well there. And he gets one of the Scots. Ace one arriving there, shoots. And the Panther 4's finally arrived here for Treadz. Almost got the M41, 31. Is it 31? It is 31.
Our heavy artillery has been overrun.
And he loses the Ace LG40. Oh dear. But the Panther 4's arrived here to finally support the 44th Reichsgrenadier Division. Most heavily in need of it.
The enemy has taken
My God, it looks like a war zone here. What happened, the Americans? I mean, we're in a war. Oh, yeah. You make a point.
Achtung, Grenadiers! Scheiße, we've been spotted!
The enemy has claimed our sector.
Diving in with the Panther 4 fairly recklessly there, though. Need to be careful not to go in too boldly here with it. Yeah. Definitely feel like Treadz overcompensating there after everything else. And the Scot is basically firing into the rear of it, so again, he can actually do more damage than he normally would be. There's definitely... Treadz just making a big misplay with his Panzer IV there. He almost had the Scot there, but now the Rifle just needs to, like, you know, get off some more anti-tank grenades here, and it's going to go down. Like, that is just such a tactical error there by Treadz. Massive. Again, I imagine he's just born out of frustration, a bit of sense of desperation. He needs to get back at his opponent, but sending in the Panzer IV like that without any support, I think was just a really bad call there by Treadz. I just feel like there's not much of an actual defense for that one. This is going pretty aggressively. Around here. Should go for another Panzer IV, but he might just try and go for the Sturmpanzer again. And just been burned after, you know, throwing away his Panzer IV. No! Just saying his infantry to rub salt into the wounds. Let Bass-and-Law in the hand. He, of course, recovers the Panzer IV. Of course, this is the extra bad side, of course, rushing in the Panzer IV like that against this. I mean, his opponent can just recover it and turn it against Treadz. This just further really just leaves, you know, Treadz there out to dry. Really just highlighting, you know, just how bad of a decision that was to send in that Panzer IV like that against Mule. And there you go. Got it repaired. Now just needs, well, recovered. Now just needs to be repaired. So this really just, you know, puts Treadz in such a bad spot. And he's going for Sturmpanzer again. Like, he's just, you know, he's feeling burned. You know, he's feeling like he, you know, made a mistake there. Going for it in the first place and not, you know, in the way he handled it. So, of course, he goes for the Sturmpanzer when in reality, he's really going to need another Panzer IV just to hold back that Panzer IV.
We have lost control of a victory point.
Yeah, really tough spot here for Treadz versus Mule. Really tough spot. In this case, it's definitely partly of his own making now. 2019 versus 48. Mule here back to, you know, bleeding out Treadz.
Bomb is fueled and ready for targets.
Got some Mans at least doing some work here, slowing down Mule in his advance. Got the Grenadiers up north here versus the captain and his bazooka teams attending. Sturmpanzer out. And we got the German gunners there hard at work with the Panzer IV.
The enemy has taken a victory point.
And of course now we got the Scots joining in there.
A machine gun has been destroyed.
MD-42 there popped. Scots going at it. And on mine there on the Scot. That's great there for Treadz. Except he just doesn't have enough there to perhaps finish it off there fast enough, perhaps. The cargo vehicle moving in there, Panzer IV that's heavily damaged. Surprised he'll take so many hits.
Prepare emergency evacuation.
That was awkward. Could he maybe finish it off? Not impossible. He needs to get someone on that Pack 40 fast, though, and he isn't. He's using the Pioneers to spot for the LD-40, hoping the LD-40 can catch up with the Scot and finish off. Meanwhile, Bazooka teaming in to block the Panzer, or the Sturmpanzer to continue to advance here. And meanwhile, the M31 is just putting the Panzer IV back together so quickly. And the Sturmpanzer completely overshoots the Bazooka team. Tron 19 versus 14. Treadz nearly holding the bleed here. There's the other LD-40, it's all the way back there. Got Panzers II Rav Squad's not looking great there either. Church finally collapses under the constant abuse being heaped upon it by both sides of this conflict. And the East Panzer Squad going to go wide. There's going to be another significant blow here to Treadz. At least Mule can't resurrect them somehow. But that's still a heavy blow there. Strafing run here.
They are down to 200 points.
There we go, caught the Route Squad, getting them slammed there. We got white phosphorus being deployed. Just further complicating any advantage by Treadz against Mule in the center. Landing some good hits in the Panda 4. Could possibly take it out here. Oh, and the Panda 4 scores a perfect hit, clearing out the entire LG-40 crew in a single hit. And goes now for the Sturmpanzer's flank, which of course is completely unsupported. Scores the hit. Treadz now finds him just being swarmed on every point here. Scots rushing in here, going for the Pack 40. Treadz lacking any anti-tank support here, is just getting absolutely swarmed here. He does get the Panda 4, but the problem is Mule can just recover it again. Like, imagine that, like, not knocking out a Panda 4 that had been used against you, only for it to return again. True armored necromancy out of Mule. But Treadz keeps fighting here. But yeah, Mule has brought back the Panda 4 for the second time here. I think that's the first time I've actually seen that happen in Coh3, where like someone's able to recover, you know, the same tank twice. That is actually kind of impressive. Though I suspect Treadz probably doesn't feel too impressed by that. His mind, I imagine, is a bit elsewhere. More rifle there for Mule. Having actually suffered some losses, realizing that. Plus, with the way his opponent's handing him tanks, it's not like he needs to take up for the Sherman EZ8. He's got the Panda 4. And a lot of Scots, in fact, he called in a third Scot. Again, it also just highlights how powerful the Scots are. Partly because, again, they are so fast, while also being relatively durable for the speed and what they can otherwise do, which just makes them tough to counter. And the Fudge Maker got dropped in here. I feel like there's a bit of desperation on the Treadz, and they, of course, get wiped. And with that, it is GG, game over. Stinging blow there to Treadz. He was so close at times, but yeah, I feel like the sort of pivotal point there, just things fell beyond his control, was when he charged in that Panda 4 and it became part of Mule's arsenal. Before that, I think he actually had a shot, but once that Panda 4 ended up in his opponent's hands, I think that's kind of like, you know, where, you know, things fell apart. Again, there were some other areas I think Treadz could have done a bit better. Again, like, you know, just a more smoother early game into more Panda grenadiers, and I think he's just committed to more act as a whole. At least snuck in some Starstruppen. But, you know, it's just, you know, it's just a very effective strategy here. Again, Mule's going to go and get a lot of riflemen, backed up with Scots and some bazookas, and just, you know, be difficult to counter because, again, the Scots are just for the cost highly efficient. Again, they're fast, relatively durable, and they can do a lot of damage, particularly factor in the white phosphorus. So they are really powerful tools there, which, again, can make them pretty tough to counter, but you have to counter them. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. And this is Imperial Legion. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye, everyone.